Greetings world, how are you? Yes, it's a relaxed live stream once again, but this is the first of hopefully a kind of series. I'm just basically hanging out and I thought I need something to talk about because, come on, live streams aren't exactly bustling with people, particularly mine. So I thought, give myself something to talk about, which is, as you know by the title, Dragon of Icespire Peak, which is an old adventure, and I can't exactly say that I'm enthused about the way this is written, and it definitely needs a fix or an improvement, because I found the scenes to be unrelated and just like walking into very locked off locations, and they just felt too separate, and I didn't really like it. But, you know, as a beginner adventure, you've got to start somewhere. However, we can do better, I would say. And so, yeah, this is just a place to hang out, say hi, and hopefully get some information, perhaps. I can't say that my way is the best way to run things, but it's our way, and you might get something from it. Just as I might get a lot from what you say, so please come say hi, give me some comment on how you ran it or what you would want to know about it. Yes. So, effectively, we have the adventure half already up. A lot of people who are running this will be new, because if the veteran DMs will probably have already run it, it's something that's in our past. However, people will still be buying this, and I think the Essentials box is the best value currently for what you get with it. And it really kind of bugs me that we got the map. We got this huge, let me full screen, we got this huge map of not only the Sword Coast, as I was showing on screen then, but we get bloody Phandalin. It's like, why wasn't this, you can't see for the flash, why wasn't this in the original starter set? That's ridiculous. So that is really bloody useful, but too sort of late for my liking. So yeah, if you're going to run this, where would you start? I think most DMs, if I can put myself back in that mindset, I would have thought, right, well, Phandalin, it's based in somewhere called Phandalin. Where the hell is Phandalin? We know it's in the Sword Coast, but it's kind of described as nondescript, and I think that's a bit unfair, considering there's 3 sort of adventures published set in this village. And it kind of got me thinking that villages is a good place to start your DM life. You know, it's alright having this huge map, this huge world to play in, but you need to start somewhere. And designing a village is probably a good place to start when you're a beginner. It's not too overfacing, and yeah, basically, you know, we're just going to sit here, and if you want to comment, you can, and otherwise, just allow me to do a live stream for my own mental health, you know? I want to just sit here and chill, look at something. Nothing too taxing, so we're going to go through it pretty slowly. Today, we might not even get into chapter 1, we're just going to look at, you know, designing villages and handling NPCs, see what the module actually says, give my opinion on it, which holds not a great amount of water, but hey, I'm trying to be a YouTuber. That means I've got to live stream, and I enjoy live streaming, so that's what I shall do. Now, as I dip into the adventure here and there, if you're commenting, I'll have to keep checking back because it's on a different screen. So, Phandalin in the Sword Coast, I remember not knowing a damn thing about it. Neverwinter, it's a huge city. Okay, so it's near there. If you've played the Tyranny of Dragons, you will have heard the Mere of Dead Men mentioned. And so these things start to coalesce the more you play things and you get used to the world. And like the lore, Mount Hottenau, Mount Hot now, Mount Hottenai now, the volcano, did affect the land of Neverwinter, and that is irrelevant in one aspect, but also really useful knowledge. The more little details you know as a DM, the more you're confident to wing things, flesh things out, and an NPC can mention, the times of the volcano not too far away. And ultimately that makes you sound like a fantastic DM. So, yeah, gathering your knowledge of the area is worth doing. It struck me looking at this map again, bearing in mind I've not run it for a long time, that the places, the actual X's on here are where you can go. They're really far apart from each other. And I think at the top of the map it says that one hex is 5 miles. Then some of these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's call it 10. That's 50 miles away. The options for on-the-road random encounters are pretty large. And then you've got Icespire Peak itself. We know that every different location, be it these, whatever this is, hilly area, mountains and forests, can give different creatures as well. So there's a lot for a new DM to actually get a grip on. But I think if we start on whatever this book offers first and build out from there. So we have a map filled with loads of locations, and it details in a very, very short aspect what is what. So this might be worth looking back on later, but we're going to skip character creation. We don't need any of that. Next chapter. In fact, that was worth looking at now that it's gone. Boop, boop, boo. I was going to say that this picture I noticed at the end of the opening here, this is actually a really useful picture, I think, giving the mountain ranges in the back, the village itself, and they're stood on a vast wall. And I noticed that Phandalin is surrounded by a wall of types when I dug into that map, although it's crumbled. But it's just the little touches like this that can go a long way into, I can picture this now. The clip-clopping of the horses. It's sunny. And of course the weather itself can change, the scene, but the ideas, the inspiration that it gives you. So that's a nice little touch. So we know that there's a young white dragon further down the adventure and in the area. It's a starter set idea. You need a dragon of some sort. A young white dragon we know is pretty deadly. So it's something to work up to. And I wonder how it corresponds to the new white dragons. AC 17, 133 health. Bear with me while I go to stop your screen sharing on this. Gone blank. Share the screen. We're going to the monster manual. It was AC 17, wasn't it? So, creature type, perhaps? Dragon. It was a young white, wasn't it? White dragons. Because, if you run this now, you're not necessarily going to use the stats in the essential kit. It is AC 17, and it's actually got 10 health less, weirdly. Okay. That's interesting. I just wondered. Challenge 6, and the other one was Challenge 6. Okay, so it's not actually that much different, but that's fine. So what's its actual? +7, or the reach of 10, 9 average, plus the 2 cold. Yeah, it's not actually that frightening, is it? But for level 1s, sure. It's got a massive bank of hit points. And this is like the main thing we need to know. We need to know what the beginning is, we need to know what the end is. And fix or alter what is along the way. So, as a new DM, Micah says, is this on D&D Beyond? It absolutely is. Yes. I mean, you should get it for free when you buy the box set, but sadly, you do not. So yeah, I use the monster manual as we're looking at right now from D&D Beyond, but I think you're referring to the essentials thing. Where was I? Is this? So, go back on that. Check that you're seeing this. Yes, okay. So, yes, anyway, hello. Nice. Thank you for watching. Yes, let me look. I can't see the inventory, it's too small. Right, so we know it's got a young white dragon named Cryovane. And this dragon, we can flavour how we want. I know this is rarely down the end of the adventure. We don't need to worry about it now. I just think we know I'm doing DM guides for you. I'm looking for the little important parts. There's a lot of fluff goes into these things, and it's only worth mentioning the 5 points that are, it's in this village. You fight a dragon in the end. You need to go to there, talk to him, get the thing, and that's all you need. You can fumble your way around in between all these points. So I try and get the points sorted out. What are the things that the book says you have to do? Now, you can ignore what the book says you have to do. If you have to go and get the MacGuffin, the hammer and the nails and the bag, you can be like, it's the right waste of a journey. Why can't they just go looking for a password to a door or a spell? You can make it what you want. And I don't think a lot of most new DMs don't have the nerve, the guts to jump in. You need to... for this adventure, I went absolutely by the letter. I was like, this is what it says, so this is what I'll do. And it's took me 5 or 6 years to get the guts to go, I'm going to change this up. So, right, we know there is a dragon. That's fine. Cryovane seized the fortress from a tribe of savage orcs. Sounds like they aren't around anymore. We've got this in red, Gorthok the Thunderboar, which is a huge monstrosity roaming the lands, and it's a godlike, or it's a manifestation of a godly power. So, you kind of got to learn or have a rough idea what this is. It's a primal nature spirit, as big as an elephant, and it has lightning dancing along its tusks. Very cool. So, as a DM, you're like, alright, I'll bear that in mind. The orcs aren't the only creatures around thrown into upheaval by the dragon. There's a manticore, and when you look at a manticore, you think, oh my god, that's hard, that's a large monstrosity, that looks like it could do some damage. So you're getting a flavour for what's in the zone, and it kind of paints a picture of, if you're a villager, a commoner, you are not going to want to wander off the beaten track, and that's probably a good reason to be protected. I've not shown you any of this. This is classic live streaming when I'm not actually showing you what I'm looking at. Oh well, we've got some comments. Yeah, I was hoping to get it when the box set was available, but I never did get it. Well, it is well worth your money because you probably get it cheap. I have run this adventure 3 times. Once with the combination. The Road to Phandalin. Remind me what that is. Is that one of those add-on DLC bits you can get? It was always 50-50 with the maps. Yeah, exactly. I lay out the maps and do that myself. Yeah. Well, plus you can wing it with, you can only you can set up a real map, and then you wing the situation, what's improvised in your theatre of the mind, don't you? That used to be the starter kit. Yeah. So the original, the Lost Mines of Phandelver. Yeah, well, it's an obvious move, isn't it? You get the two boxes, squish them together, and then of course they did the Shattered Obelisk. Eventually, they built on the Lost Mines. So yeah, in this you've got so much more built out about Phandalin, which I've already done a video series on this. So if you're running the Essentials kit for the first time, then there is that resource of mine. So yeah, there's a Manticore. I don't think I ever used a Manticore in the adventure. So we've got here a bit of lore. A frontier town built on the ruins of a much older settlement. Okay, orcs came through, laid waste to it. So, okay, logged, put on my notes, orcs ran waste through this place. And then people started to reclaim the ruins, and farmers and traders took it back. And then they put all this work into it, and they hear that, there's a dragon up there somewhere. That, potentially that is frightening for a commoner. That's terrifying. Micah, yes, I'm getting ready to run Shattered Obelisk. So you really are going to town. This Phandalin, etc. This area sounds like it's very strong in your D&D journey at your table, which is for good reason. It's what you get given, isn't it? So yeah. What does it actually say? I'm sure it says. It might not be in this book, where it's like, it's a bit of a nondescript town. Crumbling stone ruins surround the newer houses, showing how this must have been a larger settlement. Yes, okie dokie. If I can enlarge this, that's not what I wanted. Come on, that, and then magnify, and then magnify. Right, look, see if you can see this. Go like that. Has it gone off? Try that again. No, I'm doing the wrong thing. Hey, we'll get there. We've got all afternoon. Magnify the image. Maybe not that much. Yes, I noticed this, because you enter from the top, don't you? The Tribord Trail, generally speaking. I noticed there's a crumbly wall all the way around it. Because I was thinking, this village just seems very unprotected, but it actually isn't. So this kind of reflects the fact that times have changed, and it's no longer fortified as it needs to be, because maybe life's not as harsh as it used to be. So it's just that these little touches that make things a bit better. This village is not huge by any means, and it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-ish, and then up on the hill there's, I forgot what it's called, but this manor, Treska Manor, I can't remember. But yeah, we have things in the book which we'll get to here. It explains what is in each place. I used to make myself cards. I do have one to hand. So I'd have cards and write on either NPC names or the shop, so that I had them all in front of me and I could just grab them and say, this guy works here, and there's this, they do this. So I'd have, who's in there, bullet pointed, and so it's just so easy. And I can swap them and put them on my screen or whatever when I need them. And that's how I kind of organise, even when I'm constructing these guides. That's what I do. So I'd put like, Stonehill Inn. Well, I know that it's an inn, bullet point, Toblerone Stonehill. I don't care why is there. That's about it. So what I want to show you is, because you get that an inn there, you might think, well, what else about the inn? I want to. Have I done it again? I've not shown you again. Yeah, so here we go. Start again. You can see there's not a lot of details, effectively, is all I'm saying. Alright, a bed for the night costs 5 SP, while a meal costs 1 SP. Well, you can get that off DM screens, can't you, that sort of information? So, that's not overly helpful. I'm going to take us now to something that I've shown in a different live stream. So, stop presenting this. And hopefully this, can you see that? Yes, we can get rid of this banner now. Alright, Don John Fantasy Town Generator. I typed in village, but there are hamlet, whatever, metropolis, walled or not, tick, grassland environment, whether you want a river, and it came up with this map. But this isn't the bit we're interested in, and you can change this name to whatever you want. So you can make it your own, and it's just a good way of what's in the north, what's in the south, where's the park, what the biggest buildings, and it's this what we want to use or to start using. So this got down to about 450 mixed humans. Okay, fine. Notable places. I like things like this. The shrine of, well, there is a shrine. A stone niche enshrining an idol of LL, goddess of death, said to be sometimes visited by the goddess herself. Pretty useful, these notable places. The last, before I refreshed it, it had more than just the one, but these NPCs, short golden hair and amber eyes, yeah, wears modest garments, carries a staff. He comes to seek to save his family from financial ruin, because they're going to interact with some people, and even these few NPCs, you can write again on the same card or different cards, and I just find that the best thing for starting details. And you can make your town bigger. Perhaps if I went to a large town, so now it's got districts. Got more people, and have we got? Yeah, we've got some NPCs. Market Delve. Okay, so notable NPCs as well as a few NPCs. We've got a lot more NPCs, but we didn't get more notable places. However, this site is just like, look, random treasure generator down the left-hand side. There's monsters, magic items. Is there a? There is a search. So if it might be on a random inn generator. That was my next move, because we know we've got some pubs. Yeah, so you can decide what kind of inn it is, because in the town there's generally a good, nice pub and generally a bit of a crummy pub. So we've got a description, we've got an innkeeper if we need one, but then we've got a menu, which just adds, when they walk in, that's a really useful, I find anyway. When they walk in and you're just like winging it going, do you want a drink? Can I get you something to eat? And they're like, what have you got? Oh, actually, and it's so much more immersive to say, I've got stewed sausage and carrot, and you can get a tankard of cider for 12 copper. And there's a literal menu which you could write out once and hand out, and I just think that's fun. And then the patrons sat in that pub. She's wearing a travel-stained clothing and a red cloak. So there's a red-cloaked person in the corner, dwarf. A guy wearing fine jewellery sat with a male halfling wearing sturdy clothing, carrying a long knife on their hip. Because you're not going to know their thoughts. And then an entertainer, maybe this is like a bard in the corner. And then rumours. So I find that, well, this whole site, very, very useful. And that is something to consider when thinking about Phandalin and how to flesh it out effectively. So that's just my thoughts. I'm going to go back to what we were looking at. If I can find it. I can. Sure, you guys. So where are we at? That was the Stonehill Inn. Okay, so what? It doesn't say much other than Toblin Stonehill works there. Fine. Barthen's Provisions. It tells you most ordinary goods and supplies, including backpacks, bed. It's like, does this thing sell health potions? Does it sell magic items? No. But a health potion is a magic item. Okay, maybe he has magic potions. Up to you, you know. But it does actually say here, those wanting potions of healings need to go to Umbridge Hill. Fine, okay, but there's nothing to stop you saying that half of her stock is in the general store. The general store is where people are going to go first. It's the supermarket, it's the Morrison's or whatever your local supermarket is. Rando, hello. I presume you're talking about the Don John thing. Yeah, it's a useful site, and it's one of those. It's getting a balance of, like I said, you end up with so many random tables stuck in your notes that in game time you don't look at them. That's the problem. You're not going to sit there looking through all your notes. You need to write it, and I find writing it on little cards, snippets, is the best way to go. Yeah, Phandalin's not a big village, but it's also not fleshed out enough, I think. But yeah, luckily you've got my Phandalin guide and the portion of it that is Lost Mine of Phandelver, where I went into all this fleshing out the village. The Lion Costa. Well, what the hell, Lion Shield Costa, what exactly is that? I know it has a shield, a wooden shield, and a blue lion sort of sign outside. A merchant company based in the city of Yartar, and I'm like, never heard of Yartar, it's not relevant. It just makes you think, oh god, have I got to learn about that? It's overwhelming. It's difficult to get a balance. So she is a bit of a sharp-tongued human woman. Again, NPC card with Lion Shield Costa on the top, perhaps. Lenine Greywind. She has all the armour and weapons. That's basically what she is. She's a weapon shop. But she won't sell weapons to anyone she thinks might be a threat to the town. Well, these players of yours are no doubt going to cause some havoc. And in the Lost Mines, when you're in Phandalin, that's what they need to do. They need to stop the red brands, which you've possibly already done. So it's kind of counterintuitive that she is going to be a problem. She's a weapon seller, and she's a very picky weapon seller. I don't know. I find that a little much myself. But I guess for variety's sake, it's fair enough. We've got the Miners' Exchange, because this used to be a mining town. Rando, that's smart. I've been using Microsoft OneNote to keep track of everything, but inevitably you end up with pages and pages of text. Sometimes it can be a bit much. Yeah, it's over-preparing, isn't it? It's the old... it's what you retain. You might look at tables and tables every night of the week, but once game time comes, it's like, yeah, but I'm not going to now go looking through all those notes. It's just finding that correct amount, and don't they say you can only remember 3 things about something? So, an NPC, it's like all you really need is, what would it be? I'd say eye patch, something notable about them. What they want, what are they trying to do? Well, they're not. They're just there to play a game of cards. They're a quest giver. That's what from the player's eyes. Okay, well, there's a guy over there. He's an elf. Yeah, but what about him? Are we to rob him? What's his motive? Do we need to keep him alive? And when the DM later mentions this NPC, when you say Elwyn the elf, they'll be like, oh. You go, Eye Patch from the pub. Oh, Eye Patch. I find if you can get them a nickname that sums them up, that's much easier to remember. So, a little bit of a description, like the Don John thing we looked at, really helps. This Miners Exchange, then, because you get a lot of gems in D&D, and this is a place where you can get the money for them. It's a great place to meet people who spend a lot of time out and about in the countryside surrounding Phandalin. The Guildmaster is a human woman named Halia Thornton, a calculating woman, because she's actually an agent of the Zentarim, who are a shadowy organisation. So then it's like you're getting into factions then. Well, who was the Zentarim? And, eventually they're the people who get things done without the law saying they can, and perhaps roughing some people up to get the information out of there. They'll do anything. She's working slowly to bring Phandalin under control so she can become a valuable patron to adventurers who don't cross her. It's not important. This doesn't actually affect the game for the DM and the players. Yes, she's got her own living, breathing life and things, but it doesn't. It's more information that just not you can get cut. You could make that up, that she's a lovely person, it's her father's place, she inherited it, because it's not important, and so you don't need to get bogged down with information that you're not going to use. The Shrine of Luck, again, I think it's just a way to say that every village has a church sort of area, because this doesn't have a massive church. Then any clerics or god worshippers can go here to pray if they wanted to think that. And I'll always say to my players of waking them up in the morning, right, do you pray? Is there something that you need to do god-wise? Then, I presume you do it in the morning, or would you do it last thing in the evening, or both, or whatever, so that they can actually fill in the gaps and be like, oh yeah, I probably get up at 6 before everyone else and clean my vestments and go and pray. Okay, then you go over here where you meet Sister Gariel, a harper. Again, more research for a new DM. Who are the harpers? They do good, but on the down low. Don't want to brag about it. They hide and can infiltrate people because you never know who a harper is. They aid the weak and the poor and the oppressed. They have good, they do good. And then we have a list of Phandalin tales, which nowadays, even if you are anti-AI, you can get these by asking Siri. Siri, give me... Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it, Siri. I'm talking about you. You can just ask AI to knock you up some 10, 20 things, and it knows what you mean by this adventure. So AI is quite good like that. I'm running this right now. Give me 20 ideas for the town of Phandalin, and it'll probably go through the internet search, see these, and not just give you those. It'll give you similar. It's quite clever, really. You might not like them, but let's just have a look at what we have here. So any NPC, and it's getting the NPCs to talk freely. They don't just walk up to you. Once again, the orcs have come down from... It's just not believable, is it? You have these one line. It's like, all right, players, you're in the pub. There's a guy sat in the corner. That's all you can do, really, say. There's a guy sat in the corner, cloak up, quietly having a pint, and then there's some guy around the fireplace telling stories to the children, and you just give them different levels of approachability and curiosity. You know, maybe a couple of guys in the corner playing cards. I find that's normally the thing that invites players in. Oh, do we get to play cards? Do we get to roll some dice? You know, I'm good at gambling. I get to win some money. That's a big intrigue point. They generally don't talk to the shady person in the corner. They might. But ultimately have... But then when you've got this, okay, once again, the orcs have come down from the mountains to prey on the lowlands. If Neverwinter doesn't send help soon, the orcs will overrun Phandalin and destroy everything we've worked so hard to rebuild. What is the point of that? What are the players supposed to do with that information? You know? It's like, alright, this place was overrun by orcs. Yeah? It's hard enough to get them interested in the matter at hand without giving them some old lore drop. You know, I think that's a bit misjudged, if you want my opinion. Tribor Trail runs east. It passes through Conyberry, a town sacked by barbarians years ago. I'm not interested. Strange magic pervades Neverwinter Wood. Right? It's not interesting. You might as well just make something up. You know, if we're not needing to... If this aren't quest leading, then it doesn't really matter. And if you're the DM, it's just much less pressure to have to memorise these, to go, yeah, I went into the woods and there's a mysterious smell around a well. You know, that and that might be enough to the place to go, really, a smelly well? There's always something at the bottom of a well. And you're like, oh, what's at the bottom of a well? Probably some loot, a monster. And that's much more useful than saying, years ago, orcs ran through the village. Yeah, and I don't care. And plus, you've written it. You've come up with it. You're thinking on your feet. You know, you're throwing yourself into the deep end. That's what I think of that. Town Master's Hall. The Town Master's Hall has sturdy stone walls. So, a pitched wooden roof. You know, what's its roof like, though? You know, what's the actual walls of this town hall made of? Nobody asks that. The job board next to the front door. This is important. The job board where you can pin up these, not those, but you get in this box set, and I'm not going to be able to find one now, but they have these cards, and these cards have the missions printed out, and I think having a job board in any of your games is a damn fine way. I have a whiteboard behind me, and I use my whiteboard. When they get a mission, I write it on there like it's a quest board, and they can always refer to it. They're never going to go, what are we doing? Why are we going into the woods again? You look up and you're like, oh yeah, that's what we're on. We're not go and find out what this smelly well's about at some point. So the job board idea works well. That is good. If the characters inspect the notice on the job board, proceed to the quests. No place in Phandalin sells potions of healing. I thought it said that you could get some at Umbridge Hill. Umbridge Hill is on the outside. It's one of the outside places, I remember now. Okay. But I would still, this is a low level adventure. I would say you put some in not the Stonehill Inn. Barthen's Provisions. Even though it says you shouldn't. Although, on second thoughts, this does give more of a reason to go to Umbridge Hill and visit Adabra, Gwyn. But I like to have potions of healing on hand myself. So, yeah. It's your choice, but I would always have the provisionals place be a place where they can heal if needed. Of course, you've always got short rests, you've always got long rests. But in the heat of battle, I think they should have some heals on hand. You don't want them to die at level 1, 2 or 3. You don't really want them to die at all. because most players want to see their characters, last a long time. Maybe we can talk about death and how I handle it, but my ideas on death later and keeping the characters alive. But Phandalin quests, the job board outside the Townmaster's Hall, is where adventurers can learn about quests. Each quest can be given to the players when that quest becomes available, because they're coming waves, you see. I think you put 3 up. Once they've completed all them, or you see fit, you add the next 3 and the next 3. That's a good idea. I don't do it like that. My world is much more... a case of the job board might have 10 jobs on it. Go and kill this dragon, but we're only level 1. Well, don't take that mission then. But when you do, they're not going to know what is level specific, and I don't like my worlds being level specific. They make the risks. You want to wander into that bar and cause a fight? Well, there's 20 guys, and then 20 more guys come. So you're signing up for a 40-person fight. That's on you. Do you know what I mean? There's always the option to run away. It's a living, breathing world. I missed a comment. Long Wolfen Writer. These are all names I am unfamiliar with, so it's nice to have some new people bobbing in. Welcome to my live stream in particular. Sister Gariel has healings as well. That's good to know, and I did not know that. It does make sense. So she's like the resident healer. That is worth knowing. Gives her more of a point. That's good. Thank you. Harben Wester, the quest giver. Is it this one? Is it not this one where he's inside? Characters who knock on the door. Oh yeah, this is the one. If you're a dragon, know that I'm far too thin and bony to make a good meal. He's a real coward. And I don't think he ever opens the door, does he? No matter what the adventurers do, he refuses to open the door, preferring to talk through it. Sure, quirky. It's quirky. This is the guy who runs the whole village. How is he not outed? How is he not outvoted? Thrown out of his position by even Sister Gariel or whatever. Because it's an embarrassment. And I don't like him being so cowardly. But of course, when I ran this event originally, that is exactly what I ran it like, and it was totally fine. I'm going over this with the benefit of having run many an adventure, and this is an issue I have. Not an issue. Okay, this is the wrong word. The problem is when you've run something once, you might do the same thing of thinking, oh man, now I'm really familiar with that. If I ran that from the beginning now, knowing all that I do about how the whole thing plays out, it'd be so much better. So my players, I'm like, they always get the worst version of the game. And now that I've finished it, I'm like, oh, I wish I could just, I'm never going to give you that better version. Which kind of sucks, really. For everybody. So, have you ever run adventures twice? In fact, we had, Micah said he'd already run things 3 times. And I know some people who have run this adventure many times. Or was that Lost Mines of Phandelver? I think it was Lost Mines. But yeah, the starter sets, you run them over and over again. And that's got to be a great experience. Okay. So if the characters ask him about a quest, he sets them on the right track, offers payment upon their return. Yeah, because you shouldn't really pay them up front because the adventurers come back dead. No, they don't. They don't come back dead. That's not how being dead works, guys. Alright, this seems to be suggesting that it's useful. It encourages characters to explore locations marked on the Sword Coast map. When the characters embark on a location, go to the section of the book and look in... Yeah, you should have done that before. For example, if the players choose to undertake the Umbridge Hill quest, go to the Umbridge Hill section. Each location tells you about it. Right, random encounters. The adventure describes what they see when they first arrive and what they'll discover. No encounter has a predetermined outcome. For example, the Manticore fight. Fighting the monster is always an option, but players may not do that. Yeah, basically saying you don't know what's going to happen. That is a fair point. But we can expand on, and I think it's good to set what happens along the way, to not just do each individual Umbridge Hill or, the Dwarven excavation. Look at how many hexes there are in between, and there are many. Even online, if you search, give me some random encounters on the road. And I always use this example because it was what I used to. Hang on, a comment, but let me finish my point. I used to put like a man buried up to his head in the road, and do they mock him, urinate on his face, or do they dig him out and expect a reward, or do they have him as a friendly NPC? It's the most ridiculous crumb that can go any which way, Fighting a monster is fighting a monster, and there's not that much variety in, do we kill? Yeah, they kill it. Of course they kill it. They're going to fight to the death. These are players. Sorry, Lone Wolf fan writer. Lone Wolf fan. For Harben, nothing wrong with playing him as a standoffish and distant. Okay. If you don't think he's worth running, equally fun to play him as bumbling or on the run from the past. This is the beauty of the game. Everybody's Harbin will be different, and my view is absolutely not the right one. And what a fantastic hobby to have, where we can all play things differently, and that's the correct way to do it. That's great. Yeah. So I'm saying, he shouldn't be a coward. Then all right, Chris, don't make him a coward. Simple. But the quest is brilliant, and it looks like we're getting more cards a lot more cards in the new starter set. Which, yes, of course, I'll be doing a DM guide for the new one, because that's my jam. Although I don't know, I don't think I'll ever be able to run it for anybody. We'll see. So they get 3 starting quests. There's some ancient dwarven ruins in the mountains. They need to be warned. That's it. Go up and say, guys, there's a dragon. I'm afraid that's underwhelming, isn't it? Hey, do you want to go tell this person, there's a dragon? Not really. Gnomengard. Good. Okay, we've had dwarves there. Now we've got rock gnomes. Different, teaching people. The gnomes of Gnomengard are known for magical inventions. Okay. They might have something to defeat the dragon. That is more enticing. Get whatever you can from them. They might give us something cool, what kills dragons. Or do you want to go say, hey, it's a dragon, you better be careful. We need more for that, don't we? The Umbridge Hill quest. A local midwife. Not interested. She lives by herself in a stone windmill. Windmills I find cool. Just a good setting. Dragon sightings becoming more common. It's not safe for it to be there. Urge her. So you got to go to another place and go, hey, there's a bit of a dragon. Be careful. And I'll give you 25 gold pieces. All the 50 gold pieces, 25 gold pieces. My players are like, come on, not for that. So yeah, there's I'm just looking for comments. No one's jumping on my brain over what I'm saying yet. And then you get after they complete 2 quests, you get these more, which is a great little mechanic. The importance of the job board, wonderful. Butterskull Ranch. Right, orcs have attacked a ranch. Wherever, put it wherever, but yeah. Hurry up, go and have a look, and the ranch owner is a sheriff, and he'll reward you. Or if he's dead, return with proof that he's dead, and I'll give you a measly amount, but a little bit more than what I offered you before. Again, it's not. I just don't find that thrilling for the players in the slightest. The lobbers, and when we get to each chapter, we can devise whats and whys, which won't be today. The Loggers Camp Quest. Deep in Neverwood Winter, there's a logging camp, and then they deliver Phandalin delivers fresh supplies to the camp. So that's a decent idea for getting the players there. Can you run these supplies to a loggers camp where the DM will provide something incredible to happen, obviously, because that's not interesting enough. He needs someone to bear the supplies safely to camp. Yeah, we can improve on that. Mountains Tour Quest. The Mountains Tour Gold Mine, 15 miles northeast. We've got to have something on the road between these places. We'll sort that out. The new overseer, Don John Raskin, just made the trip from Neverwinter to Phandalin, and he needs escorting to the mine because, as we discussed, the roads are treacherous. There's manticores out there. There's spirits of the earth and white dragons out there. There's no telling what dangers lie between here and there. Another 100 gold. It's a lot of back and forth, and that's what my players did. They went somewhere, went back to Phandalin, went somewhere, went back to Phandalin. It makes more sense to go out and do 3 missions in a row, but, not everybody thinks to do that. I'd just like to take this point before it's the hour to say, hey, if you're watching this, I really appreciate you checking in. I'm a very tiny YouTuber, and I'm trying to give value in the way that I enjoy, which is doing DM guides. And please make this a resource where you comment and tell others how things went for you, so that if people do check out my videos, they don't just get my opinion, they get other totally valid arguments. I don't think I say anything too controversial, but the opposite opinions are always useful to other people. So I just thank you so much for actually tuning in. Right, that's my humble thank you there. Axholme, a 15 miles south. And have we just done this? No. There's a fortress, which sounds cool. Axholme Fortress. If a dragon attack is imminent, the people need to evacuate. Hey, there's a dragon, get out of the way. Not good enough at all. Dragon Barrow Quest. The dragon that beset us is not the first to threaten this region. Between here and Neverwinter lies the barrow mound of a warrior whose dragon-slaying sword helped fell a green dragon. My ears have pricked up. A rumour has it that a dragon slayer sword is buried there too. Retrieve it. There, the players are going to be like, yes, I would like a dragon slayer sword, please. Just check that you're looking at the screen, yes. Whichever sword they need, doesn't matter. I would even make it more interesting than this. So, okay, 2d6 slashing, 1d8 slashing, depending. So it's got a die, or maybe 2d6, which is very nice, heavy and two-handed. And it says up here, you get a +1 bonus to attacks and damage rolls. That's good, obviously. When you hit a dragon with this weapon, you take the dragon takes an extra 3d6. Beautiful. But I also like to have holes in the hilt or the handle so that my players can... Rando, hang on. So that my players can find gems like, I found a fire gem. And they can have the blacksmith for a certain amount of money and maybe for a day's wait without that weapon. Slot in this made up... this is an ice gem. So it frosts over, does frost damage. And it has 3 slots. So you can go from fire to force damage to, I really make the sword wantable, But that's just my style. I like to really make the players happy. I've been a lurker on your channel for a while now, have you now? For what it's worth, I really enjoy your content. That means a lot, because obviously, even now, imposter syndrome runs absolutely through my blood. I am using several of your fixes for the Vecna campaign I'm running right now. The Vecna campaign, God, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, great. I've not the only Spelljammer was the only one that I was like, this is garbage. And a lot of people hopefully will disagree with that and have made it better. I didn't run that one, I had it run for me, so I couldn't fix it. But yes, I really, really appreciate the people watching and saying a nice thing, because I always expect it to be people slagging me off and saying, you're talking crap, boy. And even if they don't agree with me, they're still nice about it. So yeah, it's awesome to have someone say, I like watching your videos. You are almost valid. You can almost call yourself an actual YouTuber. And some people even help me out with being in my memberships, which is incredible, and not something that is expected, because I am not a member of anybody's channel. So I understand. Dragon Barrow Quest. The dragon that beset us is not the first to threaten this region. I've just done that one. Woodland Manse. I don't know what a manse is. Is it like a mansion? The orcs have fallen under the sway. Oh, some actual hawks that are alive. The hawks have fallen under the sway of evil spellcasters. Well, that sounds cool. And they've been sighted in growing numbers near a lodge. The spellcasters dwell in a ruined manse. Sure. Falcon needs someone to help to make a preemptive strike against it. Destroy the evil in the manse, and then expect him to reward you. I don't remember that one. I'm sure I will in a minute. I'm going to look up what manse is, because, you know, I'm all about education. And I imagine it just means lodge. Manse. A cleric's house and land, especially the residence of a Presbyterian minister. A large, stately residence, the dwellings belonging to a householder. Well, this belongs to me, so am I in my manse? Is it pronounced manse? It's not doing it. Tell me what it sounds like. I can't hear it. Weird. Yeah, okay, mansion. Mansion it is. Just, yeah, mansion then. What have we got next? So that is our job board list. Okay. And I've determined from my personal tastes, it is dull. Go and tell people there's a dragon. That's just rubbish. You might be able to do that for one, but it's hardly worth the time, is it? Not when they can be carousing in the village. Levelling up. We're not here to talk about levelling up. Where's the white dragon? Anywhere you want. It's suggested to roll a d20. I wouldn't do that. You're welcome to decide where it is. And I did myself do this. We were going to, this place, Dwarven Excavation. So I rolled a d20 and it didn't turn up where, there wasn't anywhere at the same time. That's really something you should determine yourself and actually hands-on place the dragon where you want. And obviously later in the game, not at the beginning, although you could forewarn by having the shadow of a dragon flies above the clouds when they're properly early and be like, this thing is huge, as they're very, very, the opening scene even, it's a lovely summer's day, not lovely summer's day, it's partially cloudy and they just see something moving above the clouds. That's exciting, I think. So a tease works, but I would say, you're going to decide, Yeah, maybe halfway through have the second thing of this dragon's coming into land, you need to hide, and have them hide and have this thing pluck off cattle. We must bear that in mind. So if there's a location that needs spicing up, maybe it comes down, grabs a sheep, and they're like they can feel the blast of air as it beats its wings hovering as they rest behind this shed or something. That, just in the thought of it, is like, that's good, isn't it? It feels good. It feels good to me. Rather than, roll a dice, oh, what a shame. It could have been exciting, but it isn't. Well, no, the randomness... If I rolled on the randomness, I'd just end up ignoring it, so why bother having, bother rolling if I'm just going to ignore it? Okay, so it goes through different... Oh no, this is actually part of this is the first one. Axe home. So maybe we should go, I'm thinking we should go back to the map at the beginning. Bear in mind, axe home. Where was the map? The map at the beginning here. I'm looking for axe home. Axe home. Alright. So that's unlikely going to go there first. It's just because it's A, isn't it? So the village, that's gone even smaller. Can I enlarge you again? Right, Fandolin. It is what, 10 miles to Umbridge Hill, where they have to go talk to someone. That seems like the most obvious place. And I've already forgotten where that dragon sword was, but surely they're not going to go rushing for the dragon sword so early. You're going to have to wait a minute now. Where was the sword? Dragon Barrow. Dragon Barrow. Where'd that? Where'd that be? Dragon Barrow. Oh yeah, it's some way away. Kind of representing the fact that, you need to... It is in follow-up quests. Yeah, they're not ready to go there. They effectively circle around Fandolin first. And it was the starter set, the Lost Mines, where they had to escort a cart of supplies. But we have to imagine supplies coming in. I guess they could come from the west down the Tribor, the east down the Tribor Trail. But I would suggest that supplies come from Neverwinter all the way down to Fandolin, which is like, the obvious stop along the way. Okay, that's fine. Where were we? We were going to look at Axhorn, but I don't think we should look at that immediately. Umbridge Hill is what we should look at. Which, do I need to do this? Yeah, I best look at Umbridge Hill. Umbridge Hill. Alright, so this is all we need to worry about. Your DM, you've got them in town. We'll go further into what happens when you get to town. But let's prepare one stage more than we need. Let's think about session 2. And as long as we've got session 2 penciled in, what's going to happen after this bit today, getting to Fandolin, you'll feel much more confident. Of course, that plans might go to crap, but it's balanced for 3rd level or lower. I don't believe in that much level. It's up to them. Go where they want and decide whether they want to take on the mission. That's the risk versus reward, isn't it? So Umbridge Hill got its name. I don't care. They're not going to care. It's called Umbridge Hill. Fine. There's a stone windmill on a hill. It's a later edition. So, Abracadabra lives there. Adabra Gwyn, a midwife. There's a woman. She's devoted to a god. No one cares. A manticore, driven out of the mountains by the dragon, attacks the windmill shot. So that's what we have. We have a woman, though, you've got to go and say, hey, watch out, there's a dragon and stuff. And they get a cool fight with quite a big beast. So built on the slope of Umbridge Hill is an old stone windmill surrounded by a fence and a large monster is attacking the front door, and a woman appears in the second floor window, waves, and yells, "A little help?" That just sounds stupid. What's the map? So we have to, if she declines to return to Phandalin, which I imagine she would, she does give her saviours a potion of healing for dealing with the manticore. It ain't much, is it? So, this map is on a hill. What's up on U1? Oh, some cairns. Would it make more interesting sense that something was buried under these cairns? Just looking at the map, that's what's making me think, at least for some reason. Okay, so we have the ruins of a house. There's a fireplace. It's all that remains of this stone house. I look in the fireplace, There's a fireplace. They're going to want to possibly look in it, look for loot. I'd say, sure, you find the remnants of a burnt book, but there's a necklace in there. And then it's, give it some detail that sounds like it's got a quest attached to it. It might come in relevant later. It seems to have a skull on it and it hums with a purple energy. And we don't know what it is, but at least we've already made U2 better, which has improved going to a hill. If they look there, they might not look there, So then you've got to find something else. Because all you've got so far is, it's a manticore fight, fine. It's just, I just don't think it's enough. The windmill itself, you kind of never go in, do you? You just go up, fight the manticore, shout at her through a window, and walk away. It's not good enough. So, U3 to U5, she uses the millstone on the ground floor to grind herbs and other ingredients. So why don't we have the players... She needs help grinding herbs. She's way behind, and so it's going to be some skill checks too. Does anyone here know how to make, herbs and stuff, like druidy types? You know what I'm saying? So they can be like, well, actually, I do know about plants, and I know. So we can help you. I'll use the skills that this is my time to shine. Her quarters are on the second floor. The third floor is a loft where the guests can stay. She sells up to 6 potions of healing. So we can have her... we can have them create some potions of healing with some nice skill checks, which seems like a good idea. It makes the fight worthwhile. There's something to do while they're here. It's those cairns. We have 3 people watching right now, and people who are going to watch on the replay. Suggest, if you want, what can we, what can be something else that goes on here, perhaps involving the cairns. Do we change out the manticore for something? I don't know, but it's a bit boring on its own. Why is the manticore wanting to get into the place? Does it want a health potion? Doesn't make sense, does it? There's only one woman there. There's plenty of other places to eat. I know it's been thrown away. Perhaps we should look at the manticore. No one is taking up my post suggestion, which is absolutely fine. We're going to go to the new monster manual to see if there's any more information. So bear with me while I do this. Stop the screen you were looking at. Go to present screen. Oh, my throat. The monster manual. We should still be still on the dragon. Right, we're looking for Manticore. The worst kind of man. Manticore. Manticore. Ooh. That's cool. Are you seeing this? You've seen this? Yes. Alright. I'm just looking for a scrap of something else. They're winged. Lion-like people eater. Alright. So. Why would it go to a windmill though? With lion-like claws, leathery wings, and broad jaws filled with rows of sharp teeth, they ambush travellers from above. She wasn't travelling. So we could basically... Maybe that windmill does seem like a good place for sheep and cattle to be lowing and eating around the area. So this thing could not be attacking the windmill at all, but you know, as the players walk up to the windmill and it's turning and they can smell the wafting of herbs. It's a lovely summer's day. They're about to knock on the door, and this creature comes down and starts to, munch on a sheep. And then the woman comes out and they're like, "Hey, it's killing my sheep! Stop it! Can you stop it, please?" Something like that. And then they've got a reason, a purpose, and then my mind goes to, if it gets the chance, it can like pick up a sheep, and if it's attacked, drop it, and you've got to dodge a sheep. I don't know. It just seems more interesting than is in the book. But let's read on. If I can find the right page that I need to look at. There we go. Manticores have tails bristling with detachable spikes. So it's got something to loot. That's interesting. These monsters launch their tail spikes at their prey. I didn't know that. That's actually cool. That makes it a better scene. Skewering those on the ground or knocking flying creatures from the air. So, Chris, remember, it has tail spikes. We'll look at its thing. Despite their tendencies, they enjoy speaking with those that they're about to devour. Okay, so it's a cocky, unemotional thing. Manticore negotiations. It attacks a foe, creates a distraction, give up a captive or corpse, let a group navigate its territory. It's not its territory. Let someone pretend to slay it in battle. That's nice. Okay. We're going to do this. Scare or threaten one. Serve a steed. Right. What we can have here then, if it can pretend to be hurt. How about this? There's some sheep lowing and eating grass, and it's a beautiful day. All they've got to do is go warn this woman that there is a dragon out there. She sort of says, "Look, it's taking my sheep. Please do something, adventurers, and I'll pay you, or some reward. I make potions for the area, and I need, it's gonna ruin that." And so maybe the first, second, or third attack that the players land on this creature, it can drop from the sky and be dead. You don't say it's dead. You say, "Oh, it hits the dead, rolls around, eyes, you say everything but it's dead. You knock this thing out of the sky, it plummets, hits the... Oh. I agree. What's the Manticore's motive? Just some random, monstrosity attack. Maybe it's being ordered or controlled by a greater presence or master. That is a good idea, you see. Maybe someone is nearby. Maybe someone is far away that we can, who... It depends, doesn't it, on what the players have done and in what order. This is one of the first kind of nearby places and missions they're probably going to go on. It's a quite easy. Who would be... Is someone against the woman here? Abracadabra woman? Is someone against her and therefore the players have just got in the way? Or are someone actually having it in for the players? A mystery person, you don't have to know who. Just like somebody was controlling that, you know? Opens up another avenue that you can drop in later, tie up that thing with something else and look like you had it all planned all along. And you just look so clever. So more questions than answers is absolutely not a bad idea. And because we can harvest these spikes from said beastie, and she's a person who makes things. What about they can put spikes on their armor, or you know, a bit of this leather's used for this potion. The tail spike, it does 7 piercing damage. It's got a good flight on it. That's about all we get, but it lets someone pretend to slay in battle. That is pretty good. Serves as a steed. Yeah, you can say this thing has the fur markings to suggest that it's been ridden a lot, to hint at the fact that somebody is potentially controlling it. Which is cool. And we've already improved it. It doesn't have to be a manticore, of course. There's no reason it has to be a manticore. But it's cool art. I would say it's kind of too much almost. The players are going to want to. I don't know though. The players are going to want to stretch their fighting skills, you know, and take it down. What's its hit points? 68 health. It really depends. I mean, I would draw a straight line through what its health actually is. I'd just let the players... I'd just be more in favour of the scene than the hit points. Let the players stretch their, you know, their fighting skills, do some cool stuff. The Manticore does its cool stuff in retaliation, drops down dead. Phase 2. I'm not dead, idiot. You know. Get a good slash, because you can cut them up. There's healing potions in the windmill. We're good to go. We could even have the healing woman come out and throw potions at it that actually bring it down. And Jesus, this area's getting more and more difficult to be around. You know, how are we going to survive me living my business in here? And then they're like, well, actually, we've come here to tell you that there's a dragon in the area. Now, maybe she's like, a dragon? I could harvest so-and-so. If only somebody could play the dragon. I tell you what, if you kill this dragon, I will, you know, you can have a big lump sum of money or a deal. We can go into business together. You know, this thing just extends from there. Otherwise, she's just a woman who's like, move. Okay, well, no, I don't want to move. Why would I move? I've got a perfectly good windmill and business here. I just lock myself in. So that's an example. If you're watching this later, what would you replace the manticore with? It's pretty cool. Have we got time for another one? Let's see. Umbridge Hill. I've probably got to. You probably can't see this. Yeah, I need to change. I remembered. You can't see what I see. Stop sharing that screen. Live streaming. There's a lot goes on. I make it look easy. I really don't. Right. I've moved. Let's see what else we have. So, yeah. Done Umbridge Hill. What is the next? We need to go to the map of... Is it this? So... That was Umbridge Hill. Okay. Possibly they'd go to the Mountain's Toe gold mine. Although it depends what the quest system is. Because they only get them in certain ways. Quest goals. It's not it. I'm just looking for the adventure begins. I'm actually just looking for what comes out when the quests. Quest giver, starting quests. Umbridge Hill was a first quest. Okay, I didn't lie. And then they have the option of going the Dwarven Excavation quest, which is, hey, there's a dragon. Or there's the Normangard quest, which is get the cool magical thing. Okay. Let's take a look at the Dwarven Excavation quest. And now to work out what that is. Here we go. Here we go. Dwarven Excavation. So the second most potential quest. And actually we haven't even touched what you can do around Phandalin. So I've kind of naughtily skipped ahead. Maybe we should just peer through this. It's balanced for characters of first level. So yeah. Characters of third level should have an easy time clearing out the ruins. We don't want that. You know, we don't want them to breeze through anything. We want to up it. Okay. Let me look at the map first. Remember? Oh yeah, yeah. I remember. And I thought it was boring when I ran it. They walk all the way through, and I think someone attacks from outside. Is that when they come back out? I don't know. Let's have a look. Dazzling. He's so dazzling, and Norbus are shield dwarf prospectors and business partners. While looking for gold, they decided to explore this canyon and found a dwarven settlement buried by an avalanche. They've cleaned it all away. That's lore that they might be able to give up. So it's back of your mind. Behind the settlement, carved into the back wall of the canyon, is an old temple of Abathor, the evil dwarven god of greed. And during solar eclipses, Abathor is appeased with sacrifices of blood and gemstones. That's quite interesting, even though there's no need for them to know that. On one occasion, the god found the sacrifices of this temple's priests lacking, so he caused an earthquake. So literally the god had an actual hand, not like the gods we have in the real world, who do nothing, but ones that actually... We know these gods are real. The priests in the temple were not killed outright, but transformed into ochre jellies. Not exciting. Unless we change them to be exciting. So, 15 miles southwest. 15 miles. We have another opportunity to do something on the road. I'm gonna do a live check. Let's see. What shall I do? I'll do Jeeps. Right, Chat GPT. See if this works. I'm running.
There.
Jesus, are you listening?
Sure, I'm here to help. What's on your mind?
I'm running Dragons of Icespire Peak, and I want some on-the-road encounters of various types to fill in the travel. Can you give me some examples?
Absolutely. Here are some on-the-road encounter ideas. 1. Ambush by kobolds. A group of kobolds tries to steal supplies from the party. 2. Mysterious travelers. The party meets a group of travelers who are lost and need help finding their way. 3. Natural hazard. A sudden landslide or rockfall blocks the path, forcing the party to find a way around or clear it. 4. Mysterious artifact. The party finds a strange artifact on the road that seems to have magical properties. 5. Local festival. The party comes across a small village celebrating a local festival, offering a chance for interaction and trade. Feel free to adjust them to fit your campaign.
Not bad, actually. Ambush by kobolds. That's, gives them a chance to fight, but Mysterious travellers. The party meet a group of travellers who are lost and need help finding their way. Okay, and a natural hazard, landslide or rockfall, blocks the path. These make it fleshed out, and, travel can be dull, so throwing in some random NPCs, and what if some of those NPCs turned out to be, the guys in control of sending the Manticore to kill the party, thinking, well, we're going to steal all their loot. So that's useful for filling the bits in between the missions. And you're not going to do all this stuff on the fly, are you? You're going to watch videos like this and you get this idea first. Don't just read it and run it. Take time to fill in all those little gaps, and you're just going to have a much better game. So you don't need to do 3 or 5 things on the way. You can walk for miles without anything happening, but it's always good. And as easy as that, asking online, you might throw them out. It might inspire you to think, it's not a rockfall, it's a sinkhole. It's an ogre blocking the road. That's a classic. How do we get past? Do we just, physically make our way a different route, or do we kill the ogre, or, talk to it? And then you've got to pass it on the way back and maybe eventually become friends. Just throw some random stuff in like that. You don't need to know how it's going to conclude, of course. It's the variety as well, I think. Running a Cyclops. I know the Manticore's cool, that's fine. But we've made it cooler by possibly having it controlled by somebody else. And as I say, and this is not in the book. This was on the way. I hope I'm making some sense here. Right. E1, E2 is like the chapel. E3 is maybe beyond. We don't know that, but I think that's double doors. I think these are broken doors on E3. E4 and E5 is where they start getting attacked by ochre jellies, and I can't remember what up to E11 was. Player version. Make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't use the player versions. I fire it to the TV from my phone. They know. They can say, I got to E2. They're well aware. We can all pretend they don't know that. And secret doors, they still have to roll for. So if they generally, I want them to find all the secret doors. I don't want them not to play half the mission because they didn't find a secret door. So if they know to look, they still have to roll for it. And it's frustrating for them if they still don't get through. So we need to improve this anyway. We need to improve this dwarven excavation. Let's see what it actually gives us. The canyon floor is strewn with rubble, and yeah, there's a few scraggly weeds. So not even really worth bothering. You just say it in your speech. Go walk through the canyon. Eventually, you come to this opening. Look here, and there's massive doors which are open into E2. Yeah, nobody knows who it is, why it's here, what it was called. It's been thoroughly ransacked already, which makes it boring. Nothing of value. Players want to find things, So I would have things dropped. I'd have a dead few travellers who seem to be burned by, if it's ochre jellies or whatever, some sort of slime, and they've got backpacks on full of XYZ, if they, whatever you want really. Pictures of their family, a letter to a loved one, props for you to make, a map, draw out random map, put an X on it, hand them that. My God, they love that. You don't have to know where it is. You've got all the time in the world to say, "Ooh, you're on this bit of road travelling. You recognise that triangle of trees from somewhere. Hang on, it's on your map." You're good to go. You're just winging it for fun and looking like the top DM by just putting an X on a piece of paper. Wonderful. Courtyard and temple facade. So it's a 10-foot high wall separating the courtyard from the settlement. 3 heaps of rubble are piled high in this area. A 30-foot high facade with steps riding to a stone platform. Cut into this facade is a 10-foot high doorway. Life-sized granite statues of cloaked dwarfs. That's the first thing that strikes me. You enter, you see these huge stone granite statues. Are these things going to come to life? Because statues normally do. Evil grins can be seen on their weather-worn faces. If we put dead bodies outside, we can basically have notes giving away the lore, which this adventure hasn't provided us with much of. So, these ancient, not dwarves, but commoners who were like, let's go up there and, investigate. Let's go urbexing and exploring where we shouldn't. And then you can drop the lore. Apparently, there's this book they were carrying, what's the travel guide? Lost temples in the Sword Coast. So you can put in what lore you want and say these are evil dwarves, apparently. Even though they're not meant to know, it just paints a better picture. Maybe this religion checks of people who are like, well, do I know about this? Well, I have heard of these dwarves. Were these my ancestors? And yeah, fills in some gaps. Because really, all we've got here is tell to some dwarves that there's a threat, and then you get attacked by ogre jellies. It's just lacking. So lacking. We've already dropped some people outside, dead perhaps. If they haven't been encountered yet, there are some dwarves eating rations. They have... So one's honest and one's gruff. Well, it's yin and yang. They banter like an old married couple. So this is up to the DM. Again, bit of card. This is the good guy, this is the bad guy, there's their names. 3 points, they're arguing. What are they? Are they both... They banter like an old couple. Are they a couple, perhaps, Each dwarf has 10 rations and a water skin, mining tools, and sending stones. These dwarves offer these magic items to anyone who killed. So, they have a set of sending stones, which could prove very useful. Doesn't really make much sense why they would. Why can dwarves not kill ogre jellies? I don't really know. Dust and debris. Okay, so we've got difficult terrain. That is worth noting. There is no light. So, it is completely pitch black. The dwarves have dark vision. So you're going to get attacked by slimes in the darkness. That's more interesting. You find these dwarves, they're arguing, and maybe they've already killed one ochre jelly, but then others others seep out of the walls because they can move through tiny holes, and they come and attack. That's okay. I still think we need something. We just need to read on to get some more ideas. The temple. 5 secret doors, including one that opens up into one of the stone pillars. A blood-stained limestone altar stands at the far end of the room. So these got into the temple before an ochre jelly scared them off. It clings to the ceiling. Okay, so they have encountered one, and it's hovering off in the ceiling somewhere. Maybe staying back enough. They were waving like fiery torches at it or something, and it kept it at bay. The secret door in the pillar conceals a cavity packed with dwarf skulls. And there's a small stone box, a stone coffer with 15 gems. 15 gems which can be traded in at the Miners' Exchange in Phandalin. There was an earthquake. Maybe there's still some rumbles? that is of mining nearby, but people are, oh, is this place going to totally come down? Trapped behind the secret doors, and ochre jelly. We can, if you're going to do jelly, or oozes, don't just do ochre jelly, ochre jelly, ochre jelly. Choose another one. You know, have different types. You need to do. There's those ones that are these the ones that are split in two. They split, yes. So this is the coolest thing about them. When a jelly that is medium or larger is subjected to lightning or slashing, it splits into two jellies. And each jelly has the hit points equal to, you half the hit points among them. That's the most interesting thing about the ochre jelly. I got a sense that this is an evil place, isn't it? Maybe one is blood red. Maybe it's got a corpse. One of the adventurers dead outside. Maybe one is literally still inside this thing, and the blood is just seeping from it. So you don't want this thing touching you because it's full of someone else's blood, which is pretty vile, right? Priest's bedchamber, 3 stone bed frame. So we've got some books. Religious books can be found. I always find that when you've got a lot of books, the players want to actually look through, and so you can randomly do it. I have D&D books what give lists tables of books, so I'd have some to hand. Or if there are a certain god, maybe information on the evil god that you can just make up. But yeah, don't be stumped by what books are here. Oh, if you give 3 title names, you look like you've prepped every book. Vestry, an empty stone font juts out of a wall. There's a wardrobe holding the rotten remains of 2 suits of red leather armour. But they're worthless. I mean, it's just a bit of a shame, isn't it? Maybe the vestments are worthless but can be collected, and some of that stuff can be nice red armour can be somehow worked into your shields, your armour. I'm talking about the players here. Maybe it's worth collecting and for scrap and using later, rather than just everything's here is useless. It's not necessarily totally useless. E10, half buried in the rubble is a skeleton wearing leather armour. The dwarf was killed when the room collapsed. It's a holy symbol of Abathor. A tiny jewelled dagger on a silver chain. The symbol is inscribed. It says greed is good. They're all about greed, so you would expect, if this necklace is still round its neck, you would expect there to be a massive treasure hoard somewhere. However, I don't think we get a huge one. We get an orc attack as we leave, which is quite cool. I would prefer to have the orcs, if we're going to do orcs, have the orcs arrive and fight inside this wonderfully large location. Have them come in and strategically jump. I don't know if you can even see my cursor moving, but I'm talking through E2. They strategically like police move in places. The back ones go in and take cover, and then the back ones are there, come in and take cover. And then you've got the 2 dwarves and your party having a standoff with a load of orcs. That sounds quite cool. Using cover, hopefully. Hall of Greed. So we've got the necklace. The characters have to clear a way, which takes 40 hours. Are they going to do that, really? If so, you can't have your orc attack yet, because they're going to be working. And they've got to clear out the ochre jellies. An alcove in the south wall holds the rubble of a shattered statue. There's a dwarf statue with horns, which stares greedily at a glowing green gem. If the gem is taken, it turns to dust and the statue explodes. That's why it's not being taken. Okay. How about the holy symbol is actually cursed? then. That's why it's there. And it's a curse that is attached to greed being good. It's cursed. Why wouldn't people have took it? Because they know that either the more that person wearing it collects, the weaker they become, the iller they become, or the opposite, they have to collect random crap. They certainly suddenly have a real desire to collect sticks, and that's that to the point of becoming over encumbered. You know what I mean? It's like greed-related curse. That explains why this item is still there. It's not been plundered until your greedy players come along. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm completely just spitballing random ideas, and it's just better than... we're jumping off what they have, and orcs are cool and everything. You know, they look cool, they conjure... very much a fantasy thing. They're bully raiders. They gather in tribes and slay any humanoids that stand against them. Okay, so if this... I've had an idea. If we are saying that this necklace can be some MacGuffin for why it's still there, I don't know. And what about we have a lot of orcs come in and outnumber the players, but this necklace for some reason has some way of making that player wearing it superhuman in a way, and be like the real strong player of this scene, to be the only one who can like not take a lot of damage, be like resist. What damage do these do? Slashing, piercing. I don't know. What I'm saying is you can overload the scene with orcs, but they have an out. It's this magic item. Or at least one person has this magic item. But related to greed. It doesn't have to be related to greed. I'm just trying to tie it in. And these orcs only have 15 health. I don't really like that. 15 health doesn't seem much. Well, yeah. So that was the orc. And I've got some ideas about this. E11. So they have to take 40 hours to get through to this thing what actually blows up, doing 22 average piercing damage. Damn. So if the gem is taken, it turns to dust anyway, and the statue explodes. So what really was the point in taking the gem? I wouldn't have the gem blow up. Don't take that away from them. It's a special gem. They don't know what it's for. They can get a lot of money for it. You know, makes it more worthwhile. I think that's it for today. Is this the longest stream I've ever done? It is. It is. Well, that went alright. I enjoyed that. And those people who have watched, get in touch, please. It's the interaction. Talk in the comments. And maybe we'll see you next week, and we'll look at what there is to do around Fandolin a bit before we look at the next quest. Say your pieces in the comments to each other, your advice, where you are in your journey. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching the channel, and especially this live stream. Take it easy, guys. See you later.